Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Packer Factor on Sifted.net. Appreciate your patronage via Patreon. Appreciate your linkage of your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. Appreciate your subscriptions on YouTube. You don't have to do all three, but if you do, that's great. If you can't afford any of them, I understand. Just follow me on Twitter at Michael Packer. Let's get to today's question. A question today from Patreon from Neo JD. Do you think the former PlayStation exclusive MLB The Show coming day one to Game Pass is going to move the needle in any appreciable way? This reportedly happened because the MLB demanded it. So could Marvel ever force Insomniac Spider-Man games to appear on other platforms as well? There might already be a deal in place, but once that deal expires, and do you think PlayStation fought sending MLB to Xbox, or is it a profit deal, as you said? Yeah, I think the Major League Baseball contract clearly was never an exclusive. It's just that nobody wanted to make a baseball game. And there used to be baseball games. EA made them. They just weren't very good. The show's been great. I think that Microsoft probably needled the Major League Baseball guys and got them to realize they were leaving money on the table, and it was non-exclusive. And I think Microsoft offered up a royalty directly to baseball for getting it on the platform. So Sony's probably getting paid too. It's like a 1 million unit seller. It's not a 10 million or 20 million unit seller. So there's probably nobody alive who bought a PlayStation just because they like to play MLB The Show. Just not a big number. It's not a console seller. So I think Sony can afford to be magnanimous and keep their relationship with Major League Baseball intact. And clearly their contract was non-exclusive from the get-go. I spoke to the Marvel guys on Insomniac and Spider-Man. They just freaking love Insomniac and think they did a phenomenal job with the game. And I think they did a phenomenal job with Miles Morales. So, the truth is, I think that that Marvel, which is part of Disney, just loves Sony. And, to get on Xbox, you'd have to make the game on Game Pass. I think that contract is exclusive for that title. But I don't think that, it'll necessarily be exclusive the next iteration. So we'll see what Sony's rights are. My bias again is that that's going to stay as a PlayStation exclusive because Marvel said they were super, super happy with it. And Marvel probably got pretty generous terms, and Sony sold a shit ton. I mean, I think they sold 12 million or so of Spider-Man. So it was a real successful game. Insomniac did a phenomenal job both on that and the sequel. And Insomniac's productive, so they'll probably crank out, a Spider-Man game every 2 or 3 years going forward. And I think that Marvel's happy with that. Marvel calls the shots, not Disney. Today's question, I've got to see myself, from Patreon, from Darth Irv. It seems like the appetite for M&A in the video game industry is rising. If it wanted to, could Microsoft dip into its massive war chest of cash and eventually take over the industry? Which publishers or developers would it need to buy at a minimum to do that? Yeah, they can afford anything, and so can Apple and so can Google. Realistically, they don't want to, or they would have. They've been pretty prudent about their purchases. I mean, they probably spent 500-600 million, maybe $1 billion on the first 6 or 7, and then they spent the big dollars on Bethesda. If they want to make a ripple, you want the guy who owns all its IP. So Ubisoft makes the most sense. Maybe Take-Two, although they have NBA and WWE. But I'm not sure Microsoft could harness the Rockstar guys. I'm not sure that either of those makes a ton of sense. Obviously, there's companies like Valve who actually fit them very nicely because of Steam. And I think that, and Valve is local, but the truth is that, Valve guys are all Microsoft refugees and they wouldn't work for Microsoft. I don't think there's any good content, pure plays that are as big as Bethesda left. I can't think of any. I mean, obviously you could buy Epic, but they won't. So the answer is, I don't think they want to. And therefore I don't think that they will, but the answer is, yeah, they could. And I think the way they were doing it, buying like In Exile, and I forgot the guys who make Hellblade, what the name of the studios, but buying like 5 of those is the same thing as owning Ubisoft. It doesn't matter. Like you can buy, 5 or 6 good studios that make 1 or 2 good games. That's where Bethesda, it's like Bethesda was kind of consolidation of id and Bethesda, and I forgot the name, but Arcane, guys who made Dishonored, so you can be that company and start buying those smaller studios. Sony bought Insomniac and Naughty Dog. You can buy those kinds of studios. They're out there. But to make a big splash, it's Ubisoft. And I don't think Ubisoft's for sale. So, probably not happening. Thanks for joining us on Sifted.net on Pachter Factor. We hope you're a Patreon patron. If you are, thank you. We hope you have linked your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. If you have, thank you. If not, do it. We hope you're a subscriber on YouTube. If not, do it. And if none of those, follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. See you next time.